Hey everyone, Matt here, Run the Planet again, and today I'm going to be going through my injuries, and also I'm going to show my strength training routine. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. The next video we've got coming up will be we're back at the track again. I'm going to attempt to break my 10k PR and also try and break my half marathon time again. So there's another 2 track sessions coming up, which should be good. Some more fast work again. But to get back to the injuries, if you're not interested in learning about the injuries and you just want to skip forward to my strength routine, jump forward 3 or 4 minutes, and the routine should be there. So let's straight into the knee injuries then. The first knee injury that I had was on the left side, and I've gone out and I've run a half marathon, and then after that I decided I wanted to build up to the full marathon distance, and the way I approached it was to just go out and just run as long as I could. So I ran from 21 kilometers up to 28 kilometers, and I probably would have gone a little bit more. I was just trying to see how far I could do it, and then I stepped off a curb onto the road, so the loading on my knee had increased, and I felt the top of my left knee slip off to the left side off, so it slipped off to the outside, and it was just a classic case of building up the mileage too fast. So I suspected that damaged the LCL or the MCL ligament. So I took a little bit of time to recover and wasn't recovering so well. So I went along to see a physio, a sports physio specialist, and they advised, because there was no swelling around my knee, that there was no ligament damage, and it was just muscular damage. So initially I was told to reduce my mileage, so for the whole of the next month, reduce my mileage to running no more than 5 kilometers on each run. I think I did a couple of 10k runs in there, but generally it was less than that. And one of the biggest problems I found was that as it started to improve on the flats, it was perfectly fine, but as I came up to running up the hills, I just couldn't generate enough power on the left leg, because I was just getting too much pain on the knee area. But with a bit of help from the physio, some stretching and strength exercises from them, I managed to get my fitness back and running up to normal after about 36 days. So the next injury I got was on my right heel, and this was in November 2019, down at the Silverstone racetrack. So it was the half marathon event. So the race had gone reasonably well, and I got to the last 1 kilometer, and in the last 1 kilometer, last half kilometer, I started feeling pain on the back of my heel, but I just pushed through. Probably, from an injury prevention point of view, I should have stopped at that point, but maybe stopped and walked it. But I was on target. I wanted to get my goal, which was to run faster than 2 hours at the time. So I just pushed through and took the pain. And obviously, in the excitement, as you would do at the end of the race, I forgot to do all my stretching, and as a result, then had an injury on the heel for quite a while. Again, on that one, I tried to self-diagnose it myself again. Suspected I've got plantar fasciitis, but in the end, I went along to physio and got some more advice again. Again, he gave me some strength exercises and some stretching exercises to do. And also after that, I really looked at my form, my running form as well, and tried to. I was never really a heavy heel striker, but not totally off the hill. So I wanted to get more on my forefoot. So in the process of trying to manage through this injury and get up onto the front of the foot when I'm running, I was obviously adjusting the loading on the legs and on the knees, and I think as a result of that, that's where I got the second knee injury. And this knee injury was quite a lot worse in that, again, I've gone off for another run, and I think it was something like a half marathon distance that I was doing, and I just kept running, and the last 2 kilometers the pain came on. It was a slow burning pain that came on, but nothing too much. But in hindsight, I should have stopped running. Next time I went out for a run was a couple of days after. I could only run about, I think it was 1.8 kilometers I ran, and that was the end of my run. I learned my lesson from the last injury that in the recovery process, I just basically need to reduce my mileage a lot and gradually build up with the strength training again. But what I found was that I could only run a few kilometers, or even 5 kilometers sometimes, without any burning, without any pain or any burning happening on the knee. And this wasn't going away as quick as any other injury I had. So the way that I managed to do this was I was only running a maximum 10 kilometers on each run, but I'd go out for a run, and if the burning pain came on for, I'd say 4 kilometers or 5 kilometers, I'd stop, and I'd maybe stop for a minute or maybe 2 minutes, and give the knee like a gentle rub, a gentle massage, and wait for that to go away. And I found that I could then run a bit more, and sometimes it would be 3 or 4 kilometers I'd be able to run, and then it'd come back on again. And that was it. I just gradually built it back. Well, that as soon as I feel the burning pain coming on, that was it. I'd stop. So with this injury, it took me probably 60 days for it to go away, but it wasn't totally gone away. It probably took about 90 days to totally recover from that injury. So after all those injuries, nothing too severe, but stuff that's held me back, I've really looked at what I'm doing with strength training, taking on board everything that I've learned from the physio, studied a lot about strength training for running as well, ended up producing up my own routine, and I now do at least 2 strength training days per week. If I do strength training with the weights is only done once per week, but there's a lot of strength training that I can do that I don't use weights for. So that's what we're going to move over to now. So the video that follows is my strength training routine. Remember, the weights exercises, I only do that once per week, but obviously at least 2, maybe 3 times a week for the non-weighted exercises. Okay, so here it is, my strength training routine. you.